Welcome to 2020 and the very first vlog of this year. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rosie Mutene and I'm a Pan-African feminist, activist, writer, creator, crazy dumbass bitch who always just speaks her mind. My three passions in life are woman, Africa and the arts. And so everything that I do, I live, breathe, eat, sleep, cry, scream on top of mountains is always around these three issues. So this very first vlog I'm dedicating to our warriors in Zambia because they need solidarity with their march, which is happening on the 18th of January. So as I'm creating awareness on this, it's also a call to action to our feminists and activists from across the continent and of course within the African diaspora. There's more detailed information on the march, how you can get involved, the key points, getting involved in terms of not just volunteering, showing solidarity from whatever region you're coming from, but either just using the hashtag, retweeting, talking about your experiences and so forth. And of course, if you're in a position where you can give sponsorship, because you know these things don't come together without any funds, and the work that we do is incredibly traumatic and strenuous, and often does not come with a paycheck. So all forms of support are welcome. So, why do we need to show solidarity? Well, for centuries, as we know, we've been fighting for our rights. We've been fighting to be heard, we've been fighting to be believed. And we salute those giants who took up the forefront, who took up those stages, who were incarcerated, were abused, were all sorts of things just to get to where we are as women today. And, you know, the list is endless. You know, there's Mama Winnie Mandela, Angela Davis, Miriam Makeba. The list is endless. I don't have to go into those. We know who our warriors are and what they mean to us. But we're now at the point where we played too nice for too long. And you know, I love Mona Eltahawe, my fellow activist and sister, and she's coined it and it's basically shaken up the system and told people that we need to fuck the patriarchy. And that is where we're at the point. And I know, you know, people are like, well, you know, it's too harsh. Why do you have to use such cruel language? And, you know, are you not taking it a little bit too far? Well, our bodies have been used as targets for too long. We are being killed. Our bodies have been used as weapons of war for too long. We haven't been believed. So actually, no, we're not taking it too far. In fact, we haven't taken it far enough. So the call to action is whatever capacity you can and where you come from. Let's start showing active solidarity for our feminists. And of course, people within our own countries, but for feminists and activists that are across our borders. Because ultimately, you know, the borders were just put there by our colonizers. And we're all one. And when you go into my blog and you see the details of why they are marching, a lot of those issues will pertain to your areas or your countries or your work or whatever you do. For instance, rape culture. Rape culture of not believing victims and survivors. Rape culture of always protecting and supporting perpetrators, questioning people when they speak up, how they speak up, and why they speak up. That all needs to come to an end and it needs to be addressed. For instance, the First Lady read an article last year had stated that, you know, looking at how women and girls dress often affects why they've been raped, and that is bullshit. Because the only reason why somebody rapes somebody is because they're a rapist. So we need to stop making excuses for that. Other areas, which is something very, very close to my heart, and it's because it's me and it affects me directly, is how we have been treated as the LGBTQI community. In many countries, we don't have rights. Even in South Africa, there's still no rights in terms of adequate health care for members of the trans community. There's still the stigmas attached. There's still the misogynistic and patriarchal attitudes of, well, you know, lesbians just need a penis to get them straight. All this bullshit and all this crap is that we're still fighting, but we need to call people to order, but also create safety spaces, because the reality is that people are dying. We are dying. I live in Johannesburg. It is known as the rape capital of the world. This isn't just a campaign or an epidemic. We're in a crisis. And so we need to understand, we need to acknowledge, and it's not just about, yes, we as the feminists and activists, we call to action and so forth, but it's holding other people account. It's people, average citizens on the ground, our allies, who also need to speak out. We need a stronger and more articulate and more authentic voice from the African man. Because ultimately, a lot, not all, yes, there are abuse cases that happen within same-sex relationships, but majority happen from man to woman relationships. And you guys need to address that. And so, carrying on with this post is that there are a number of hashtags, but the most obvious one would be WomensMarchLusaka2020. As I said, look at the details at the edge of this vlog. We're on Twitter. You can tag me at Rosie Mutene, and do what you can, whether it's you recording a vlog, writing a blog, if you want to interview any of the organizers of the march, if you just want to show solidarity, put up a post on Twitter. Other thing is that, you know, one of the things that the women are marching for is their right to dress how they want. I mean, in 2020, really, we have to stand up and say, well, if I want to wear a miniskirt, I have every right to. So how would you be marching if you were in Lusaka? Me, I'm going to be wearing a sexy little miniskirt. So it's all about these issues, holding people accountable, but also a very, very important issue is that the warriors is that we have a lot of work to do and it's tough, but we also need to be gentle on ourselves. So self-love is incredibly important. So if there's psychologists out there who are willing to give pro bono services, please hit us up because we need it. So until the next one, guys, we stand in solidarity. One love.